Have you ever looked into the eyes of an old person? Truly looked? Not with pity, not out of obligation, but with deep curiosity. Behind those eyes lies a story, the greatest untold story of all time. A story not written in books, not recorded in reels, but lived in silence. It's a story of sacrifice, of quiet wars, of unconditional love that asked for nothing in return. We celebrate youth as if it's the only chapter that matters: smooth skin, fast feet, booming laughter, and sky-high dreams. But what about those who lived those dreams? Who held our hands when we couldn't walk? Who walked barefoot so we could wear shoes? Who stayed silent in pain so we could smile without guilt? Old age isn't a curse. It isn't weakness. It is the final masterpiece of life, a crown worn by those who have endured storms and survived them all. It's the most powerful stage of life, and yet the most overlooked. That old man sitting alone in the veranda, the one we walk past in a hurry, he once stood tall, held his family together with bare hands, fought systems, braved hunger, and loved with a heart so big it forgot itself. That grandmother humming to herself, looking out the window, she once held her baby to her chest, whispered lullabies, prayed every night that her children would be safe, happy, and full. She gave up dreams, jewelry, food, even her name, just to be called Ma. They have seen wars without bombs, emotional wars, financial wars, battles of ego, betrayal, and silence. We make mistakes in front of them, boldly, carelessly, thinking they won't understand, thinking age has taken away their senses. But what we forget is they've seen more life than we can ever imagine. They don't react, not because they're unaware, but because they've already lived that moment 100 times before. They don't argue, not because they're weak, but because they've mastered the art of silence. While we're busy trying to explain our feelings to them, they're sitting quietly, smiling, nodding, and understanding every unspoken word like a wise soul with a PhD in pain, patience, and love. We act like they're useless in our daily lives. We measure their worth in chores. Can they lift a box? Can they do errands? Can they cook anymore? And if they can't, we push them to the background like expired tools in a shiny kitchen. But what we don't see is their heart, which never retires. That old, fragile body still burns with the same fire, the fire to protect, to guide, to save us from our own chaos. They have outlived their friends, their youth, their lovers, and sometimes their own children. And still, they wake up, fold their hands in prayer, and thank life for one more day. Every wrinkle on their face is a chapter, every gray hair a story, every trembling hand once fed, healed, held, and built. They are not weak, they are tired, they are not forgetful, they remember too much: the scent of their mother's cooking, the sound of radio crackling in a dark room, the weight of their father's silence, the last words of a sibling they never saw again. And when they see us heading toward mistakes, when they see danger in our decisions, they can't stop us. They know we won't listen, so they give signs. A glance, a pause, a prayer under their breath. They hope we understand, but we don't. We ignore it. We roll our eyes. We say, "You don't get it? This is a different generation." No, you don't get it. They've already lived through it, and they just want to keep you from falling in the same pit. And yet, we pass by them as if they are furniture. We speak loudly, slowly, as if they don't understand. But they understand more than we ever will. They've seen two worlds, one without electricity and one where everything runs on screens, one where neighbors were family and one where family barely has time. They've adapted to every change without complaining, without resisting. But one thing they were never prepared for was being forgotten. And even after all this, they still bless us. Even when we forget them, they remember us. Even when we avoid them, they pray for us. Even when we raise our voice, they lower theirs. That's not weakness. That's love in its purest, most painful form. And one day, when we stand where they stand, we'll realize the worst pain isn't in the bones or the memory loss or the shaking hands. The worst pain is watching your own blood treat you like a leftover. Watching the ones you built, brick by brick, move ahead like you were never part of the foundation. They sit quietly not because they have nothing to say, but because no one is listening. They wait for a call, a visit, a hug, a little eye contact, or even a warm cup of tea offered with love. You think they're silent? Their silence is louder than our noise. You think they're slow? Their soul has walked 1,000 miles. You think they've become a burden? They once carried our entire world on their shoulders, and today, all they ask for is a little dignity, a little respect, a little love, not in money, not in gifts, but in time. But there's still time. Time to look back, time to sit down, time to listen. They don't need a palace. They don't need praise. They just need presence. Your presence, your attention, your love, not on birthdays or festivals, but on the normal days, the boring days, the hard days. Because they're not just old people, they're your silent saviors, your real-life protection shield. And when they go, all their wisdom, their secrets, their sacrifices, they take them all. And suddenly, you'll realize you're alone. You're powerful, rich, successful, independent, but alone. What hurts most isn't the body, it's the fading presence, the realization that they've become invisible. But here's what we forget. One day, we will become them. One day, our hands will shake, our back will bend, our voices will tremble, and we will sit by a window waiting for someone to ask, "Are you okay?" So before that day comes, look around. Go to that corner room, sit beside them, touch their feet, hold their hand, ask them a question, and let them answer in full. Let them repeat that same story you've heard 10 times, because for them, that story is life. Old age is not the end of life. It is the crown of it. It is the proof of survival, of love that endured decades, of wisdom that can't be Googled. They are not fading. They are glowing in a light that only the wise can see. Do not measure their value in what they can do today. Measure it in what they have already done. And remember, their stories are not files you can re-download. Once they go, they take everything with them, their language, their memories, their laughter, their scent. So don't wait for that regret. Don't let that silence scream at you later. Hug them, hold them, say, "I'm sorry." Say, "Thank you." Say, "I love you." Say it now, while they can still hear it. So don't let your last memory be regret, let it be love. Hold them, hear them, celebrate them, because when an elder dies, it is not just a person we lose, it is a living, breathing library that burns to ashes. And no matter how advanced we become, no AI, no machine, no technology will ever recreate their warmth. So love them now, while they're still here, because the most beautiful part of life is not how far we run ahead. It's how deeply we respect those who walked before us. All the best from Easy Academy.